and welcome to the opposite of We Are Terry and Royson. I did not say Terry and Squarey this time.
I'm so proud of you.
I know, right? Today is a themed episode. If I'm sure you figured that out by clicking on the video. Today, we discover that revenge is a dish. And if you don't know what that means, basically today's episodes are all about revenge. Today's stories, I should say. Full disclosure, we did actually film this video before, but it got messed up, and so we are refilming it. And so we've read these stories before, and I'm really sad because there was one story that was really good, and it's no longer there, and I'm learning my lesson. I gotta save that to my computer somewhere. But to be fair, I didn't know that the other one was going to get messed up. So if that footage is salvageable, I will put it in here and it'll be our first story. If not, we'll go into our next thread. My ex had the foresight to plan out her devilish revenge on me many months in advance. My ex and I had known each other since we were teenagers and have always been close. We are very different people, though, so we never gave a relationship a try. That changed when we were both in our mid-30s and both ended up being single around the same time, shortly before winter. Bad timing. Going through a breakup and drinking together while huddling up on the couch for warmth led to more, and we ended up dating. Yes, it was a disaster. 3 years of constant fighting until we finally called it quits. You'd be surprised how effectively you can hurt someone's feelings when you've known their wishes and deepest, darkest secrets for 20 plus years. We were both really hurt by what we said to each other. I did what I do in these situations and went on a small holiday for a few days. Perfect time for her to gather her stuff from my house and move out. That's when she did something that really fucked with my head many months in the future. One of my favorite hobbies is doing jigsaw puzzles. It calms me down after work and I can listen to audiobooks for hours while doing it. And I don't mean some 500-piece puzzle that you can do in an evening. I mean huge puzzles with 15,000 pieces. The largest was 42,000 pieces. I've got a whole room in my basement with a huge custom-built table for puzzles. It's great because the puzzle can just stay on the table for weeks or months while I plug away at it, and there's no chance of actually bumping pieces off the table and vacuuming them up. Why is that hobby important? Because she knew how much I enjoy it. She could have just smashed the puzzle I was working on at the time or destroyed the table when she moved out. But no, she simply grabbed a big handful of pieces. Not enough to be noticeable right away, but you're gonna notice when you're getting close to finishing it. Many months later, we still weren't talking all that much. We just needed time to cool off. I kept doing my jigsaw puzzle and got close to finishing it. That's when I started to notice that some pieces were definitely missing. Being the nerd that I am, I complained about it in our friends' chat group. I blamed the manufacturer for making a low-quality puzzle. My ex is in that group and saw my messages. Barely 10 minutes went by when she sent a single picture without a comment. It was one of my puzzle pieces with a small note next to it that read, €5. This is kind of evil, but also like not harmful at all because it's like not that big a deal. The chat was erupting with laughter, cheers, and my frustration. She didn't write anything. A day goes by and another picture appears. This time the piece was laying on the floor in her basement with a €10 next to it. This went on for days. Every day a new picture in a new location with ever-increasing ransom demands. She put real effort into messing with me. Can you imagine how frustrating it is when every day at the exact same time you know what's going to be posted in your friend's chat group? You open the app and yep, there it is. Your friends laughing their asses off at your misfortune. She could have just thrown the pieces away, but she kept them for months just to torture me. Kudos to her, a truly devilish move, and I really respect. In retrospect, it actually makes me chuckle. We've patched things up since then, and we're back to being really good friends. The hostages were exchanged for a few bottles of wine. I'm glad she gave them back.
Yeah.
But that's really funny. She's not particularly petty. She just wanted him to suffer just slightly. Just like a little irritation. a little annoyance here and there. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, But sometimes people will be like throwing dishes at each other, and I feel like that's not cool, or quite literally destroying each other's property. I feel like, okay, this is a good level. Like, if you feel like you need to get some revenge, I feel like my mother would really enjoy this story. Only she is the kind of person that would actually throw them away because she didn't really consider the effects. All right. So the first story that I have,
possibly
it's not really a story. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. This is basically just a thread on Ask Reddit. It says, "What's the best revenge story you know?" So the first one says, "Small revenge from a child. I got bullied as a kid, as did most. It was 1983, and my 8th grade class went to the beach. My bullies were hanging out. I was solo for safety. They went into the water. I crushed up a bag of potato chips and spread them all over my enemies' blankets and towels as I casually walked past. It took less than 5 minutes for about 50 goals to find the spot." That is really diabolical.
Dang.
But also, nobody technically gets hurt, so I approve. I mean, I don't really approve of revenge in general, but that's not that bad. I think that's kind of funny.
And I guess it depends on what all stuff is ruined. There's a difference between like seagulls are there, they eat the chips and it's annoying, and then they go away. But if the seagulls are like pooping everywhere, and that's
like what birds do. Like as soon as they eat, they poop.
Then yeah.
And so if birds stop moving, they're gonna poop.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I guess if it's like the point is to be mean, but you're not actually like permanently ruining their lives or anything. So,
So the next story, we don't really have much to say about that other than that's really funny. Also, keep in mind as we're going through these stories, the whole topic is revenge. I don't approve of revenge in real life, but for the sake of this video, my bar is gonna be real low. So I approve of anything that doesn't get anyone hurt. All right, next one. I remember reading about a woman who would bring her lunch in a can of Coke and put it in the work fridge. The can of Coke went missing repeatedly. So she took a very hot pepper, cut it in half, rubbed it around the opening area. The thief was discovered. There's a lot of stories of similar things happening, and supposedly you can get charged for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is so, I mean, I don't understand it fully. It depends to the level of which you do it. Like I've heard things where like people will put some like crazy death trap in their house, which is like a little different of like permanent injury. But like if it's like you made your something whatever super spicy or like gave someone diarrhea because they stole your food, like getting in trouble for that seems ridiculous considering like it's just like that person breaking the rule and then suffering the consequences of it. So,
yeah, I think when it comes to stealing, I think it's kind of ridiculous to steal something and then be mad that you got poisoned.
Yeah. I'm mad that the thing I stole wasn't actually good for me. And so I'm blaming you, the person, the victim, the person I stole from.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I haven't read these, so by the way, so I'm going to be just as surprised as you. We were at a summer camp and shared a cabin with another group that insisted on eating all the food we brought, even after asking otherwise. So one guy drank half a Mountain Dew bottle, peed in it to fill it back up, and loosely glued it shut. Put a sign on it to not drink. It disappeared the next day. Without any mention whatsoever, our food stopped going missing.
Okay.
I like the addition of "do not drink this" because it's you made the decision to drink something that says "do not drink."
That's so, I mean, I guess like the point, it's once again the same scenario. It's a trap. It's super disgusting. And I guess if it was effective, it's effective. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's the thing is like, it's hard to feel bad for the person stealing stuff that they know they're not supposed to.
For real. The comment underneath that one is, "That was probably healthier for you than drinking Mountain Dew." Honestly, probably true.
I'm a little sick thinking about it, but yeah, probably. I think also because I'm like such in some ways, I guess, like to I don't know, neat freak or something to where I can't even like think about like peeing in the bottle in the first place. So I feel like there needs to be some form of like dedication to like the revenge to like get yourself to pee into the Mountain Dew bottle and then like handle it afterward with the like put yeah. I don't know.
Some people really want revenge too much. The
Mm-hmm.
things that they'll go through to make themselves suffer is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. All right, next one. I had an instructor in the Navy who had just started a deployment on board a destroyer and had gone to put his clothes in the washer, but had forgotten his detergent. So he put his clothes in the wash and started it and walked back to grab the detergent. Coming back to the machine very shortly after, he had found that somebody had grabbed his soaking wet clothes and threw them on the deck and put their clothes in the machine. Seeing this, he grabbed their clothes out and threw them all over the side of the ship.
Okay, that one's a little more messed up. But...
There's a little bit more. The deployment had just started, and this random sailor would now be without some of his clothes for months because he decided he wanted to be an asshat.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mean,
it's definitely not anywhere close to equivalent. Might be a little too much, but I mean, I don't know. I guess military things just go hard. Like,
also, when
people are
yeah.
very punishing the military.
When you're not like the lowest level in the military, you feel like a sense of power, right? And so you're like, well, whatever, I can get away with this. You know,
that might be it.
I think that's part of what it is.
I could imagine if it was like some like higher level person.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be funny.
Someone pointed out that those are very expensive. Could be like $150 potentially, you know, just for like a set.
Oh.
Yeah. I knew someone that signed someone up for every newsletter, magazine, junk mail, samples, etc. Of course, that puts you on other mailing lists, then more and more, etc. They told me their victim received boxes and boxes of mail every day. It got to the point where it wouldn't fit in their mailbox, and the mailman had to knock on their door each day with an entire box.
That's sad.
That's like the people that get fan mail. But it's not fan mail. It's just like,
it's just spam.
Money.
Yeah.
Money, please. Money me.
I think
money now. Me a money. Needing a lot now.
We'll put that in there too. I think like that one, it relates to, I remember a friend from like high school or friend of friend. I don't know. But basically I remember she had some guy that was like, did some really messed up stuff to her.
Mm-hmm.
So it like like relation to that, she signed him up for a bunch of like adult content stuff.
Hey, ruthless.
But also I think I remember the scenario around like why she did it, and I was like, yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna move on to like full stories now rather than little threads of blips.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
we had our YouTube Shorts moment. Now we're watching a whole video. There you go. Does it not translate?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Like the little blips is like our YouTube Shorts, and then this is our YouTube video. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't say that out loud.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And that's going to go on a YouTube short.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. All right. This one is originally from Petty Revenge, I believe. And it says, rude neighbor catches husband's petty revenge. So this happened a while back when we still lived in the Houston area. We lived in a cul-de-sac, the corner house on a big lot at a 4-way intersection. Our neighbor diagonal from us decided he needed more room in his garage, I guess, and decided to move his Chrysler 300 to the street in front of our house. Our house had a lot of front road frontage, so it wasn't unusual for someone to do that occasionally. We parked on the street often too. It wasn't an issue. The neighbor, though, left his car there without moving it for weeks. Without even mentioning it to us, he even parked in a shitty way that prevented someone else from comfortably parking there. My husband is the pettiest, and he got fed up and started letting air out of the guy's tires, starting with the ones on our side of the car so the neighbor couldn't see from his house. The tires got pretty flat all around, and he still hadn't noticed. Then after a month of it being parked there, we finally called the the county and reported an abandoned car. I mean, how are we to know it was his car if he never bothered to talk to us? They stickered it and he had 48 hours to move it. We saw him out there with little time to spare, airing up tires and jumping the battery. He never spoke to us, no apology, or, hey, this is my car, I live over there, etc. He never parked there again. We did catch some dirty looks, though. Edit to add, I'm not sure I made this clear. We never expected anyone to ask to park in front of our house. It's a public street and everyone in the area would park there occasionally, mostly guests of neighbors. Had he mentioned to us that he planned to leave his car there for the foreseeable future, we would have asked him to at least park in a way that left room for others. Also, he did have an empty garage and space in his driveway and space in front of his own house. All of this led to us to respond in kind, which with equally rude behavior. After all, this is petty revenge, not how to solve things with your words. That's my thought process.
For today, yep.
He left the car there for a month that we know of. We first saw it after a 2-week vacation and never moved it, started it, nothing. Literally left it till the battery died. The county told us that was plenty of time, no matter whose car it was, to be considered abandoned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Legit.
That's kind of messed up to just leave your stuff on someone else's property. Yeah. Or even if it's not, like, the fact that it like blocks them off or inconveniences them permanently is what's really makes it dumb. Like, to just leave your car there and be like, whatever, like, I'm sure it's fine. It's like, that reminds me of the people who are very like, the world's about me. So,
oh yeah, if I can get away with it, I will.
That's the
it's only
process.
a problem if it becomes a problem for me.
Yeah. So I think those people will only learn through petty revenge. So it's
honestly, yeah. So one of the comments says, I personally wish my neighbors had your patience. I left my in-laws' car parked in front of my own house when I left for a weekend, and the guy next door had it towed so his buddy could park there. When I approached him, he actually had the gall to say, well, it didn't look like you were using it. Thankfully, because the cops didn't wait the mandatory 72-hour period before removing it, all the tickets and fines got refunded within a week. But it was a hassle and annoyance. That's a pain in the butt. People just being jerks to be jerks.
Yeah. That's someone who reads the story and then is way too excited to do it to someone else.
I don't know if you've ever had that issue, right? Where someone was parking in a spot at your house.
No, I was the parker, but it wasn't like permanently. Hey, all right, chill.
You ditched your car in somebody's
It was
yard?
like I would like go to work and then come home, and then where I parked, because there wasn't space in front of my house, and so it wasn't in front of the neighbor's house, but it was like across on the other side of the neighbor's house where it's like in front of a fence. But then the neighbor was upset about that because then it made it a little more inconvenient for him to back out of his driveway. So he asked me to stop parking there. So it was just like annoying, but it's not like I just left my car in front of his house for days or something mess like that.
So you let the air out of his tires or something?
Yeah. It slashed his tires and burned his whole house down. That's petty revenge. It's very petty.
You know, where I used to live when I lived with my two friends, that used to be an issue with the guy next door. Because Brittany would have to leave for work early in the morning. She had to be there like 6:30, something like that. And she used to park on the side next to us or in the driveway, but that spot kept getting fought over with the neighbor. But the neighbor, I need her to explain. If you're watching, leave a comment and I'll pin it, because I don't remember. That was like 6 years ago. I'm trying to remember everything that happened, but like
that bad, Barry.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's
so what
hard
happened
for me to
is
explain.
trauma.
But we didn't. Yeah, sorry. My brain is not pulling up that information.
That was funny like 3 times in a row to like start talking.
I tried, okay? Brittany, help me. She might leave a comment.
Maybe.
If she watches this, Brittany, leave a comment, please.
It's a homework assignment you're required to, Brittany. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so next story.
Next story.
All right. This one is in Best of Reddit updates, but I'm assuming it was originally posted in Petty Revenge. So Roy's actually going to read the next one. It's a classic. It is something that has been around the internet for a long time. We're not the first to read it, and we won't be the last. But I don't feel like I stole it from anybody because I did find it on my own. So,
Yay. Okay, so story. My half-sister wanted to show up in a wedding dress to my engagement party, so I changed the theme so she would fit right in. I have no idea what changing theme means, but also who wears a wedding dress to any event outside of their own wedding. Wow, this is sad. Okay.
yeah, for real.
My half-sister, Heather, and I never really got along. We're both 24. My father left my mother for her mother, and we were born the same month, 20 days apart. It has always been weird. Wait, okay. Yeah, oh yeah, so that basically means cheating something probably. Cool. It doesn't help that Heather's mom hates me and my mom. By extension, Heather and I didn't have the best relationship. She has always tried to one-up me, even though we both have a similar economic background. I can give examples of this, but for the sake of the word limit, for the sake of the word limit. Wow, she literally said world. For the sake of the word limit, I won't write them here. So now my fiance and I got engaged last month and had our engagement party this Saturday. We planned it originally as a casual formal event. Nice dresses, but not I'm going to Met Gala ball. Nice. More like we are going to a good restaurant. Nice. Anyway, my cousin hits me up saying she has to show me something. It was the picture of the dress Heather was going to wear. And there's a little edit. This is what the dress looked like approximately with a link. So I'm going to click this link so I can see.
We'll put it on the screen as well.
Oh, it's a 404.
Oh, yeah, that link is dead. Do you remember that? I'll just describe what it looked like. It was basically like a really white ball gown that was kind of like not super flared, but also not like mermaid. I don't think she said. It was white, and it had a lot of gold embellishments on it. Do you remember it? It was straight up a wedding dress. It was straight up a wedding dress. Long, floor length, all that. But yeah, we'll put a picture to show you.
Fun. Beautiful. Anyway, this dress, Jesus Christ, it can only be described as opulent. It was long and white, strapless with sewn in crystals and golden accents. I'm pretty sure it's a wedding dress, but I can't be 100%. If it's not a wedding dress, it's probably one of those dresses that's just meant to show up the bride.
Was that you saying that or them?
This is me. Me saying that. Yeah. This made me really mad. So I decided, fuck that. I started texting people telling them that there had been a change of plans, and that instead of casual formal, I decided to make a costume party. My mother's side is crazy for Halloween, so they were immediately on board. I told my father via text and asked for him to relay the message to Heather and her mother, knowing full well that he would forget or leave it to the last minute. Which is so sad to know that your dad's that much of a deadbeat. Okay. Or I guess that irresponsible.
Yeah, that's actually
whatever.
really sad. To tell your father and just automatically know.
Oh yeah, he's not going to let them know. So it's fine.
That's crazy. This is actually the same tactic as do not drink this.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I guess it's kind of like the let people know, and their irresponsibility is going to let them suffer anyway.
Yeah. Could never be me.
So, okay, Saturday comes along. Guests start showing up, most of them in costumes. Some didn't have time to get one. We just provided them with fun hats and cheap wigs. Heather, my dad, and her mother came like an hour late. As soon as she notices that everyone was either wearing elaborate costumes or weird accessories, and she didn't stand out, she lost it. Especially when my fiance came along and told her that her bride dress looked amazing for a cheap costume. Dang.
And he knew, right? So
yeah,
he was just grinding it in. That's very supportive of him. I hope you do something like that if anyone.
Make sure I really like be an extra asshole to people. Yeah.
So it's funny because you're more likely to be like defending me in another way.
I guess so. Yeah,
Or-
it's hard for me to directly be mean to someone
Yeah,
like that.
you don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're too
I would just
kind-hearted.
make sure that they don't fucking come. You know, that's all different.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway,
Move the venue.
pretty much. As soon as she notices that everyone, oh yeah, wait, yeah, I said that. She left crying, and her mother and my father told me that I was being I am struggling. She left crying, and her mother and my father told me that I was being childish, and I could have told Heather myself and not have tasked my father. It's so childish to tell my dad because he's irresponsible. You should know that. You should have just told her directly.
In a normal situation, yes. But that's the point of this, is the revenge.
Yeah.
So.
And also it's still kind of like the fact that it's common knowledge that like, hey, you can't tell the dad.
It's really
and so
sad.
you're the one at fault here for not letting her know. For those interested, my fiance was dressed as Bubbles and I was dressed as Mojo Jojo.
Which is adorable.
My mom and aunts went as ABBA, ABBA.
ABBA. You said you didn't know who ABBA was. ABBA's a singing group. You know, Mamma Mia. Here we go again. My.
Other memorable costumes were Luffy and Zoro, Ian Malcolm and John Hammond, and Jesus.
Now, that's a badass party. I think that's great. I would love all of those costumes, honestly.
You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever gone to a costume party.
Every party you've been to is a costume party.
I don't like the joke where this
We're
is
all
going.
pretending we like you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Every party I go to is a costume party because I'm with this fucking clown. Jeez.
You're right. That's actually funnier. Because you're a clown. Okay, sorry. Just kidding. I do love you.
I'm abused constantly.
Each time I come here, I am abused.
Yeah.
That one is
gosh.
very niche.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
We always have to throw on a TikTok sound because we're such online addicts.
I'm a TikTok brain rot now. What can I say?
So there's an edit. Why did I invite her? It's one of those weird family situations where not inviting them would have been more dramatic. You know, when you try pleasing everyone. Plus, I still wanted a relationship with my father, so not inviting Heather and her mom would have made things super difficult and made it so my father would have had to choose. Even though her father seems terrible, whatever. When I kept thinking of it, I noticed that my father wouldn't have chosen me on this scenario, which is why I ended up cutting them off. Yeah. And then there's apparently lots of people saying, you let her win, which she was responding, no, the point of this is to ruin my half-sister's intention. She wasn't just dressed nicely, as some of you put it. She wore a wedding dress to my engagement party. I'd much rather subvert this whole mess rather than have her smugly sitting at the table with her wedding dress.
For real.
Yeah. Also, some of you are really hung up on the cheap wigs part and ignore literally everything else regarding the party. A minority of guests wore those cheap wigs. Also, it literally doesn't matter. We had a blast. After she left, I didn't even think of her again until a few days later. Dang. I don't regret the costume party. I wish I thought of it earlier, to be honest. Also, I can't believe I have to say this, but the lady on the picture, the picture that she linked for the dress, apparently a lot of people were trying to like harass, pretending like that lady is actually, or like, you know, saying that lady is actually the girl. And so they started saying mean things about the lady in the picture that she linked. That's
like,
just
that's
supposed to be
not
like
a picture of my stepsister. That is just a random picture of someone wearing a dress. That's crazy.
Wow. By the way, guys, stop being jerks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a crazy story. But honestly, like, I can't fault her for any of the choices she made because, like, I feel like she didn't do any harm. And like she said, she just ruined the intention that her stepsister had behind.
And not to mention, like, none of that would have been assholeish at all if the stepsister or half sister or whatever wasn't actually being a butt. Because like if you showed up to a costume party, you didn't know it was a costume party, and you're just wearing something nice, you wouldn't and then like immediately be like fucking upset about it. But like she's upset about it because she didn't get to have whatever weird attention.
Right.
I mean, like the closest is maybe like the rub in of like, oh, that's a nice cheap wedding dress costume
Right.
you have. But like still that's such a low, I don't know. It's like low
Right. And I'm
mentality.
trying to play devil's advocate in my brain of like, is there a way in which like it would have been okay for her to wear that kind of dress? Like some sort of situation, just in general, I can't think of any engagement party. Even like the rich ass people who have like it in like a hotel and it's like a whole thing. It's still like basically like prom slash wedding dress style. So it doesn't matter how like nice quote unquote it was. It was quite literally a wedding dress. You cannot have any other intention. You know what I mean? It's not possible. Now, you can tell they're not brown. You know? Like you can tell this is not Indian people. You can tell, you know what I'm saying? Because in Indian culture, you know, and also Pakistani culture too, a lot of times you wear what you wore for your wedding at someone else's wedding because everyone's supposed to be dressed up.
Yeah.
And it's
there's
different.
It's not like there's
because,
that many.
Yeah.
Like,
you cannot upstage the bride because typically they are like decked out.
I mean, but that's for a wedding. This is for engagement party.
Well,
which is
that's
different.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. So
even still,
even
in engagement party setting, usually like the bride is still like dressed somewhat nicely and everything too. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
But white is meant to signify the bride.
And also overall the idea that like they did say for like the theme of the party is just like a casual dress up nice, not like a huge like a ball type thing. So to dress up extra nice, like way beyond the standard of like what you're supposed to. It's still asking for the spotlight where you probably shouldn't have that spotlight.
Do we have any comments? I'm sure we have to.
So we had some comments, but I didn't care about any of them. I want to get to the update. Woo!
Ooh, how far away is the update from when she posted?
It was 30 seconds later. It was 20 months. I had planned countless times to update this post. I even asked the mods if it was allowed, but I was too lazy and always stopped halfway through. Anyway, I keep saying my post as seeing my post as a motherfucking TikTok. I also saw an account that pretended to have an update. Apparently my husband cheated with my half sister. My mother exploded and my grandma's a dog.
I can imagine that on the Subway Surfers.
Yeah, pretty much. So to the actual update. I got married. It was an eventful and thankfully drama-free day. My father was not in attendance. After my engagement party, I realized that he would never choose me willingly. Even if he loves me, he doesn't love me enough to stand up for me. He constantly allows his wife and daughters to walk over me and even become abusive. So I wrote him a lengthy email from my old school days email account. It detailed my resentful feelings against him and uninvited him from the wedding. Then I logged out because I know myself. I'd be upset with his answer, and if he would not answer, I would also be upset. I also blocked him and his family from all access. And I went cold turkey, freezing even. I changed phone providers and deleted my social media accounts for a while. Wow. Very dedicated. He did try to contact me through my mother. She said it was just upsetting, so I told her I did not want to know. So I just cut him off, and boy, my life improved drastically. We had an amazing wedding. Unhinged things that happened after the wedding. Interesting.
Dang, okay.
I got a cease and desist letter from my half-sister. It was very vague and weird, but we quickly found out that it was only a Google copy pasta.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot the fact that apparently this post blew up so much that that's why the half-sister wanted to do a cease and desist.
To be honest, I forgot entirely the whole update. I just remembered the main story.
Nice. My stepmother followed me to the supermarket and tried to intimidate me to apologize to Heather. She made the produce wildly uncomfortable. Wow. Okay. My father tried to pick me up at work. He was walking next to me while I went to my car. He was trying to get me to apologize to Heather and her mom. He said that I should be the bigger person and that I know how both of them are. So I just told him that he must be mistaken because my father is dead. He just stood there as I drove off. Yeah.
Ooh. That's cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that party story is just a symptom of other things,
Yeah.
clearly.
The fact that he's still saying she should be the bigger person because you know how they are is so messed up. It's like fully aware that they're terrible people, and he knows now and has fully admitted that they're terrible people, but still says, oh, just let them continue being terrible people and you should continue to suffer. That's messed up.
That really is.
Then they started to bother the rest of the extended family. Heather and her mom apparently wanted them to cut me off finally. Wait, what? Heather and her mom?
They want the rest of the family to cut her off.
Okay, yeah.
Because they're mad because she cut them off.
Mm-hmm. Which backfired spectacularly because now they are cut off, which also means that they are excluded from a lot of family events that they weren't looking forward to. Plus, they can't use my uncle's cabin. So Heather's mom had allegedly been at her sister's since the whole breakdown. Oh, wow. They were living at a family's place and they couldn't anymore? Is that what that means?
Ooh, these people have a lot of problems.
That's funny. I have to be honest. I don't know how much of this is true. As you know, the toxic gossip train, oh, wow, always has to be taken with a grain of salt.
Toxic gossip train.
I just heard that song again
This
recently.
must have
Oh my
been
gosh.
written right around that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know, but I think it's funny. A sad thing is that I don't even miss my father. His absence has made zero negative effect on my life. Dang. We did have one more costume party around Halloween, but this time we gave everyone more time and it was even more fun. My mom's side of the family all pitched in. We got a venue and invited a bunch of people. I recommend this totally. I met so many of my cousins' friends who I have kept in touch with. Nothing else has changed. I still have my old job. I'm not pregnant. We have the same old apartment. We did redecorate though. So that's all for me. Not all too dramatic. That's good.
Yeah, I'm glad. It's a lot of times in these types of stories, like the family ends up siding with the abuser because it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like this family was already kind of fed up with that person.
Yeah.
So that's good. It seems like it wasn't the whole family system that was sucked into the toxicity. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
It seems like one guy just made a bad choice on who to marry.
Mm-hmm. And then
Yeah.
that just forever affected every time those people were around, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the things that is so true, really. So it's like, the question of should we be in petty revenge is what someone commented. Sometimes the best revenge is just living your best life. Good on you for doing so. Which is funny to say that, even though it's like after she did an actual revenge thing. But the long term best revenge is to just live your best life. So that's nice.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know if I could go through the whole changing a whole party around a person. I feel like that's like, because there's this level of I'm mad at the person, I want them to suffer or something, and then there's I have to put so much creative effort into it. When my thing is just straight up being no, you're not coming, or you're not allowed to come.
The only thing they did was be like, hey, wear a costume. And she said that her whole family loves costumes.
So it kind of worked.
And all you have to do is go to the store, grab a couple wigs, and which is very nice to have something like that so people don't feel left out.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
True. That's true. So it really didn't take that much for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too is my method of I would just probably uninvite them or something wouldn't work for these people because they would just show up anyway.
Probably if they knew the time and the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, fun story. I understand why it's so popular, especially the updates. I like it.
I know, right? Next story.
I was going to say that. Anyway, so this one, because a lot of things we were reading before were petty revenge. I'd like to point out that this one is in pro revenge. So we're getting professional, ranked competitive revenge here.
Whoa. It's also in another one. It got cross-posted.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. This is a cross post from another subreddit called Today I Fucked Up. So, oh gosh, this is going to be crazy. Today I fucked up by being an asshole on the internet and causing a stranger to get divorced. Damn. I'm cross posting this from Today I Fucked Up. I'm really not a mean person and genuinely felt terrible for destroying a marriage. But the lovely users thought I should post here though, post here, though I didn't mean for the revenge to go this level by any means. I don't even know if I meant for revenge at all, but here we are. That's kind of funny. So this is accidental pro revenge. I, 42 female, big, oh, how she says this is so weird. I fucked up big time. 42 female. 2 weeks ago, on a random Thursday morning at like 1 a.m., someone started shooting off fireworks in my neighborhood. I've been having bouts of insomnia and was finally about to get to sleep, and I had to wake up at 4 a.m. for a meeting 2 hours away that I had to be at 8 a.m. Ooh. I was pissed, and so are my dogs. I love fireworks, but I think there's a time and a place. Thursday morning at 1 a.m. is not it. I posted to the neighborhood Facebook group a few hours later during a coffee break about people that set off fireworks at 1 a.m. midweek. Wow. After I make the long drive home, I check my Facebook. Some guy comments that I can't sleep because I'm a fat pig.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Wait, tell me what was it on? It was on the internet somewhere, but where?
On a Facebook group, like the neighborhood Facebook group.
Oh, like a neighborhood Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's some person that lives near her too. Yeah, okay. From this point on, I'm very okay with whatever she did.
Murder. That's okay.
Yep, completely fine. All legal and acceptable. Now, I'm chubby, but I'm not sloppy fat, okay? Plus, I just lost the equivalent of a fully grown male wombat, a 54 North American gray squirrels, so I feel fucking awesome about myself.
Okay.
Interesting.
There's that.
But yeah, this is where I may have really fucked up. I respond to the guy who is maybe mid to late 30s, very early 40s, about the same age group as me. I write in a comment beneath his "listen" guy's name, "I'm sorry I had to end things, but I just didn't have the same feelings. What you're saying now is just hurtful and mean. Please stop sending me messages and commenting on my Facebook posts. It's just a pathetic way to contact me. I told you a dozen times already, we're done, it's over."
It's iconic.
So funny. And I think also in normal
Publicly.
Yeah, I feel like where this is going is worse, but in normal people context, like that's usually considered like an obvious troll joke. Whatever.
No, not necessarily.
I mean, yeah, for like I guess normal or maybe us chronically online people. That's just a troll joke. Whatever. The following day, I had to get to the airport for an out-of-country vacation that had me getting up early and leaving early as hell. So I don't check my Facebook during all the craziness. Also because I'm only on it sparingly. I don't live on my phone, and when I'm usually on Reddit or TikTok. I could not check my Facebook even if I wanted to. I was on a cruise, not paying $25 a day for internet, and the country visited didn't really have the greatest Wi-Fi.
That's fair.
Besides, I was having a blast leaving the chaos of the world behind. I signed on Monday night and fuck. Apparently, people took this seriously and told his wife. She was freaking out on me, pleading for information, sending me messages. Her and his friends were DMing me. He was DMing me. It was bad. The last message was the guy saying I'm a total jerk because I refused to tell the truth and I just destroyed his life. I immediately messaged both him and his wife explaining what happened. I sent pics of me on vacation even, time-stamped. Apparently, he is a serial cheater, and when I exposed our affair, another woman exposed her affair with the husband to the wife because AP was jealous that he had yet another side chick. This was the straw that broke the camel's back because not only were there multiple affairs, but because he humiliated her with how public it was, especially because it was in a neighborhood group.
Yeah.
So there's my accidental pro revenge. Yeah, no, okay, yeah, no, because yours was a joke, and then someone else jumped in and it was like, yeah, no, also he is doing this. And what's funny is I'm sure the other person jumped in because they were mad, like, oh my gosh, he's like cheating on his wife and me.
Maybe.
Now I'm mad and gonna post about it.
Yeah, probably.
That is
They're
wow.
like, oh, well, let me tell her too, because that's crazy if he's just giving us the runaround.
Yeah.
I'm not special if you're cheating on me too.
Okay, so I take it back. That type of, well, no, I will specify what I take back. The fact that comment would normally just be an obvious joke is no longer an obvious joke when it's directed at a guy who frequently cheats on his wife. Then like, yeah, he deserves what he got. What the heck? If anything, it was probably a divorce that was like a long time coming.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, and then exactly what someone said. Nah, he was gonna get divorced eventually. Better sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
Very much that.
For the wife, anyway.
Trying to see if there's anything interesting. It's funny. This is in pro revenge, and people are responding whether or not she's an asshole, which is like, I don't know.
People just get used to doing that, you know.
Genuinely felt terrible for destroying a marriage. You freed her from a shitty marriage to a shitty person. Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't destroy that marriage. That guy did. But to be fair, she could have. It is the possibility.
Of what?
Which would have been even funnier if he didn't cheat.
Oh, yeah. And then it just destroyed a marriage.
That would have been very evil at that point.
I feel like that at that point, though, because if it was just her one comment, right? And it wasn't like this history or anything like that, then it becomes like some insecurity and then like a huge argument.
Yeah, maybe.
And so if it leads to a divorce in that way, it's like that's just terrible communication by them. But like because of the fact that like it's already an issue and had been an issue, and then someone else came out, so apparently he was still cheating anyway, and the wife didn't know about it. Like it's really what you did is just get the person who was actually cheating to say it. So it's it's hard to feel bad for them.
Yeah, it's like if you throw a speed bump in front of a car and the car falls apart because of the speed bump. Maybe the car wasn't built very well.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh. Oh, man. Yep. I am okay with that revenge, even if it is a pro-competitive play. I think it still matches that's the thing of, like, does it match the crime? And
she didn't know it was going to blow up, so I think it's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll absolve her.
Yeah.
Women can do no wrong.
Oh, true. Yeah. Never.
This one is posted to Petty Revenge, and it's titled, "Don't Leave Your Wife and Baby at Home." So, this isn't my story, but my mother's. And she's one of the most honest people I know, so I think it's safe to believe her. And I know what my dad is like. By the way, from now on, my dad will be known as It.
Oh.
This story takes place when I was just a baby, so I don't remember anything. My mother and It were living in Texas at the time, so the temperature could get pretty hot. My mom didn't work since It told her he could support both of them, and so she could take care of the baby. So she stayed home all day, making sure I was okay and healthy. One day the power went out. There was no water, no AC, nothing. My mom begged and begged for It to pay the bills so she could keep me and herself cool. By this time, it was the middle of the summer, so it was excruciatingly hot. However, It never paid the bills. He would work early in the morning, and always after work, he'd go to a pub to drink his heart out. He's an alcoholic at night. I'm thinking it all the time.
Was that a he there instead of an it?
Yeah, several times.
Oh,
just It's the name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Each day that went by, my mother was more and more pissed at him. He was supposed to make sure that his wife and kid were okay. One day, my mother broke. It had a lot of shot glasses he kept as souvenirs when he went to pubs. My mother decided to get her revenge. She grabbed each and every shot glass and smashed it in front of the door. She knew It would come home drunk late at night, as always, which, super shockingly, he did. When he did, he immediately stepped on all of his broken shot glasses. Some of the glass went through his shoes. He yelled at my mother in his drunken speech slurring state. She just yelled back at him to pay the bills. The next day, the power and water were back on, and he never missed a power bill again.
That is so sad that means he had the full capability to do it that whole time.
That's crazy. And I can't even believe that at night he's okay with no water and no power. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's the example of kind of what you said earlier. If it's not my problem, then it's not a problem. That dude's yeah. That's sad. And I feel bad for I understand why that person's name is It and why the mother and daughter left.
Oh, absolutely. You can imagine a lot of other problems were in that relationship. Mm-hmm. One of the comments says, "Epic. My uncle used to be a jazz musician and would come home and throw his clothes all over the floor, never bothering to pick them up until they were needed again. So my aunt got sick of it and sewed all his clothes to the carpet one night. Clothes went in a pile on a single chair after that." That's hilarious. sewing them to the ground is super funny.
Yeah, and that's a work too. So that's like really a like.
That is hilarious. Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
It's also a little sad when like it really does have to go to some pretty extreme lengths for someone to finally understand they're being a shitty person.
It's so true. All right. That one was kind of short and sweet. I feel like everyone knows that that's the most epic, and that guy deserves what he got. He clearly learned his lesson to an extent. Obviously, he's still a crappy person.
Yeah.
But they said he was never late on a power bill again.
So we'll take the one thing that we
Yeah,
can
we'll take that. All right. So this next story is iconic. This is one of those stories you hear and you just think about it in your head anytime you hear of bamboo. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about. Some of you may not. And yes, we did read this story, so it's not new for him anymore. I apologize, but he will pretend that it's all new for him. Yes. What? Anyway, it's still iconic, so we're gonna read it. All right. This was originally in Petty Revenge. I planted bamboo that overrun my neighbor's property over a security light. About 4 years ago, I used to live in a nice HOA in a small town in Texas and enjoyed having only one neighbor over my backyard fence. The plot was about 2 acres and the other side of the backyard butted up to a hayfield. The stars were beautiful at night because of virtually no light pollution. Until the neighbor decided to install an incredibly bright security light over their back porch aimed right at my back patio and bedroom windows. I tried to ignore it at first, but put shades in the bedroom. Apologies. But out on the patio, it was like having a bright LED headlight in your face all night. I consulted the HOA about adding a privacy addition to my fence to increase its height, and they said no because it's already at the 8-foot max allowed height. They said there was nothing in the bylaws or whatever about bright lights, so nothing they could do. Which is crazy because you would think that they could add something in the bylaws if this is becoming an issue. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
clearly.
It's not even asking for like, ask the neighbor to take down his stuff. It's like, can I just put something to block out this blinding light my neighbor's like has towards me?
Yeah. But 8 feet is pretty short for fence, but I think that's pretty normal. I think 8 feet is like, no, 8 feet is like, is that a normal fence height or is it 7 feet? I don't know. You guys tell me. All right.
Sure, it's like 7.
Right. Diplomacy. So I hated for this to be the thing where we finally had a formal greeting after 3 years of back porch waves. But I walked over and rang the doorbell with $20. I politely explained how the light was causing the aforementioned nuisance and asked if there was any way I could convince him to point the light down or in a different direction, and even offered to buy him a case of beer, which is what the $20 was for, out of goodwill and even a new motion sensing light. He seemed nice and agreed to point it down, but after waiting a month, nothing changed. I went back to have another polite conversation, and he said he had changed his mind and was going to leave it on every night and leave it pointed as is. Petty revenge. Needless to say, I was a bit upset. Sorry.
Well,
I'm just laughing already, so it's like...
While you're doing that, I still want to point out, I'd be mad not only because of like the turnaround and be like, you know what, actually, fuck you, but also he still took that $20.
Yeah, he literally just took your $20. I mean, Trippy's bear, it was good faith, not like a payment, but still.
I mean, yeah, obviously that faith was not very good.
Well, yeah, that guy's clearly an a-hole.
But yeah.
All right. Needless to say, I was a bit upset. Diplomacy failed and started figuring out how to win. If the military taught me anything, there's always ways to adapt and overcome.
Oh my gosh.
So I started researching fast-growing plants to create big privacy walls and reading through the HOA bylaws and city-state ordinances about what I could or couldn't plant and if there were any repercussions for encroachment across the property line. I quickly discovered running bamboo, despite being very invasive, would grow super fast to make the neighbor's house and light disappear from view. And there was nothing on the HOA/city/state books to prevent me from planting it or cause legal recourse if it spread and grew on his side of the fence. Only thing he could do is cut anything that grew on his side of the line. So I pulled the trigger and planted a bunch of golden bamboo, which grows and spreads crazy fast in Texas and grows up to 20 feet tall. That's really tall for a neighborhood.
It's over twice the size of that fence limit. So yeah.
I didn't care if it overtook the fence line because his house is 15 feet from the fence, while mine was 50 yards away. So I planted a bunch right against the fence and only put root barrier on my side to prevent it spreading into my yard. Within 6 months, his house and light were gone from view, replaced by a pretty bamboo jungle row at the edge of my yard. Within 1 year, he complained it was growing into his yard via mailed letters. They went right into the trash with no response. He rang my doorbell once and I looked at him through the window, but just didn't answer the door.
Nice.
I hope the guy saw him. That's super funny. I unexpectedly sold the house and moved 2 years after planting for a career opportunity. It's been 2 years since I sold, and I just checked the property on Google Earth, and his entire backyard is bamboo.
Just never dealt with it. Oh my gosh.
That's crazy. But it's so iconic. Like,
also, fun fact, this is the story that I learned what root barrier even is. I didn't even know that was the thing.
yeah, you can put like stuff down to make sure that, because you know how it works is kind of like succulents and other plants like that, like snake plants and aloe vera. They create, I remember telling you this last time,
but I totally forgot.
But basically,
Please tell me.
how they repopulate themselves is they grow up, right? And then after they mature, then they send out a little shoot underground that basically starts out as a root. And then it becomes a little bulb, starts coming up, separates from the original plant, and then you have another plant. And then they just keep doing that. And because the atmosphere, the conditions, all of the temperature, everything is perfect in like South Texas, I think, for bamboo, it is very invasive. So you do not want to plant that on your property at all because it will just keep going and going and going and going.
How does the root barrier work then?
The root barrier would stop it. So it might get really thick.
What is a root barrier? Is root barrier literally like the sheet that you have, like some kind of metal sheet or something you put in the ground, or?
I do not know. I'm gonna bet that there are multiple types, but I don't know. He didn't say.
But it's usually some kind of physical barrier you literally put in the ground.
Yeah, it's a physical barrier.
So the roots can't go past it.
I thought you said you learned what root barrier was.
I learned of its existence and that it could be possible. And before that moment, I was like, oh, if someone to plant an invasive plant, then you're just done. It's over. That's it. There's no stopping it.
No, but you can do like black plastic is one thing that they use for like that kind of thing. But I don't think you could do black plastic vertically. So it's probably some sort of sheet of plastic or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Around that vicinity.
Yeah. Or I guess the other thing too is if you like dig it up and then put like a plastic lining and then put all the dirt and stuff on top of the plastic lining.
But that would only help vertically, up and down.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I don't actually know what he did. He didn't really say.
But either way, root barrier. Cool.
Someone says you should mail him a stuffed panda and a flashlight with a card that says "Thinking of you," unsigned and with no return address. That's pretty funny. Someone said root barrier was key. We were the recipients of bamboo runners in a rented house. It made the backyard unusable. Yeah. You can't do this without root barrier because you're just poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
And the future owners of your house. So, yeah.
I also didn't register the fact that bamboo was so invasive before, too. But, yeah. Which makes those, what's it? I think you just go over to H-E-B and then just grab a little, like that, those bamboos, bring it home. And if you want to just like throw it in someone's yard and then just screw them over forever.
I don't know if, because that's a different type of bamboo, maybe. They're talking about, he said running bamboo in particular. So you'd probably have to order that online. But if you want to really get back at somebody, you could do that to them.
Just order some of the bad bamboo, just throw it in someone's yard.
Well, I think that's all the relevant comments. I'm sure there's more. And of course, we'll link all the stories in the bio. But that's all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed this petty revenge in the season of thanks, I suppose. We're we're headed into Thanksgiving.
You gotta get your revenge out before you can be thankful and nice to your neighbors.
I know, right?
You know?
I mean, it's only the beginning of November, so you have plenty of time to be evil before you go see your family.
True.
Get it all out now before you see your family. Cause less fights. You know what I mean?
Or cause more fights. Put it on Reddit and we'll read it later.
Ooh, or you could just have a story you submit to us and we'll be like, hey, this was submitted directly to us.
That's all I'm saying.
And we'll read it. Ooh, big brain. Big brain. Anyway, we will have another video for you next week. Fingers crossed. Every time I say stuff like that, like, then we end up having something bad happen. So if I don't say it, we're hoping to have one next week. Then maybe it'll actually happen. No, we've been pretty good. Anyway, so we will see you next week.
Yes.
Do you have anything to leave us with before we go?
If you could please put some bamboo in the comment section, and then let it grow and infest so that there's more people commenting with bamboos until the comments are just overrun with bamboos.
Yes, if you got this far, comment bamboo or an emoji. That would be cool too.
Yeah, emojis preferred. I just want bamboo all up in the comments. It'll be great.
And also, if you have any stories of revenge that you've gotten or you know of somebody, that would be fun too. I would love to hear it. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like on the video, please. If you like the video, it really, really helps a lot. And also, share with your friends if you have any. If you don't, then welcome. We are your new friends. And
Parasocial
also,
and everything.
Right. If you haven't subscribed yet, also, please subscribe if you would like. It helps us a lot in growing. And yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.